So you want to win $50,000 on Underdog Fantasy, drafting fantasy football teams for week 8 of the NFL season? We've got the 6 keys to taking home your share of $330,000 in prizes on Underdog in week 8. Key number 1, the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins get the matchup we all dream about in fantasy, the Detroit Lions. The Lions are 31st in defensive DVOA, and they're 7th in pace in the NFL. Combine that with the fact that the Lions have the 15th DVOA offense and should bring back DeAndre Swift and Amon-Ra St. Brown this week, meaning they'll be able to put up a fight against the Dolphins' high-powered offense. The Dolphins have the 3rd-ranked DVOA pass offense, led by quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. Our top quarterback for Week 8 is the Dolphins quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa. Tua is the leader of the Dolphins' 3rd-ranked DVOA pass offense. He has weapons all over the field. Tyreek Hill, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Another stacking partner in your drafts, Jalen Waddle at wide receiver, who flashed 40-point upside earlier this year. And one of our favorite tight ends, Mike Gesicki. We also have Raheem Mostert. There's weapons all over the place for Tua in an absolutely pristine matchup, and he's extremely cheap in drafts. On a week where there isn't a lot of quarterback firepower. Josh Allen is not on this slate. Patrick Mahomes is not on this slate. A lot of the top quarterbacks are not there. That makes Tua the top pick for us in week 8. There's a lot of strong running backs on this slate. Don't ignore the high end, the Derrick Henrys, Christian McCaffreys, Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley's, lots of high-end firepower at the running back position. Mix and match those guys through your drafts, of course. But our top value pick, another Dolphin, Raheem Mostert. Mostert is our 8th-ranked running back versus the 12th running back in ADP. He started to take over this backfield from Chase Edmonds. Chase Edmonds has been extremely ineffective since being the borderline workhorse in week 1. Mike McDaniel has gone to Raheem Mostert. We haven't seen the big play upside yet from Raheem Mostert. He's one of the fastest players in the NFL, if not the fastest, and he has yet to flash his 49ers big play ability with the Dolphins. But we know it's coming, and this is the perfect matchup for it. At wide receiver, we've got 2 top options. DeAndre Hopkins returned to the lineup after a 6-week suspension for the Arizona Cardinals. No rust. Stepped right back in with the loss of Marquise Hollywood Brown for the Cardinals. Stepped right back into a monstrous target share on Thursday night. Could have had an even bigger game if the Cardinals defense didn't score twice, but Nuke had 14 targets on just 29 Kyler Murray passing attempts. That was good for the 2nd highest target share of the season by a wide receiver. He's not one of the highest priced wide receivers on the slate, but he's one of the highest volume wide receivers on the slate. Make sure to get your fair share of DeAndre Hopkins. Our number 2 value wide receiver, DJ Moore, another guy stepping into a much bigger role in what people may perceive as a lackluster offense. It probably is a lackluster offense in Carolina, but PJ Walker, since taking over for Baker Mayfield, has elevated the target share of DJ Moore. He saw a 45% target share last week in a game against the Bucs that the Panthers shockingly dominated. Now he draws the Falcons, who just got absolutely destroyed by Joe Burrow and the Bengals passing attack, and lost star cornerback AJ Terrell. DJ Moore is in line for a monster week, and he can't even be found on the first page of wide receiver ADP. You have to scroll all the way down to find DJ Moore, and he's one of our top values of the entire week. At tight end, you guessed it, another Miami Dolphin, Mike Gesicki. Gesicki underperformed for most of this season, but over the last 2 weeks, he's really been unlocked, getting up to 75% of snaps and finally drawing some targets, including having his first big game of the year 2 weeks ago. Tight end is a wasteland on this slate. No Travis Kelce, no Mark Andrews. Kyle Pitts is borderline undraftable on the Falcons. It's a very tough slate for tight end. Even yet, Mike Gesicki, in probably the best matchup of the entire slate, is all the way down at the 12th ADP tight end. He's our 4th ranked tight end and a great cheap stacking partner with Tua. You don't want to avoid Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and we love Raheem Mostert too. But Mike Gesicki is a linchpin of drafts this week as a super cheap tight end with no opportunity cost at the position, with very, very little high-end firepower. We also know it's important in these Battle Royale drafts to find ways to get different at the end of drafts, finding players that are not picked in every draft. So there's one low-owned play that stands out for us this week. Another Panther, D'Onta Foreman. After the Panthers traded Christian McCaffrey, the Panthers split their backfield between Chuba Hubbard and D'Onta Foreman. As you see, D'Onta Foreman actually played less snaps than Chuba Hubbard, but Foreman was extremely effective and played some critical snaps in the hurry-up passing game. The Panthers didn't throw very frequently, so if they're forced to throw a little bit more, we might see even more upside out of Foreman. The other big critical element for Foreman was that Chuba Hubbard got banged up in the fourth quarter of their Week 7 game against the Bucs. Supposedly he's okay. It seems to be minor. They're saying that Chuba could have came back in the game in Week 7. Sometimes injuries linger. It could flare up at practice. He could be more sore as he returns to practice this week. He could be limited in Week 8. Foreman also, Chuba played well. Foreman outplayed him a little bit. Foreman could earn a greater role in a very good matchup against the Falcons that, again, mostly through the air, but were just shredded by the Cincinnati Bengals. If the Panthers lean a little bit more on Foreman, or if Chuba ends up missing this weekend, Foreman is an absolute smash and is not even being drafted in most drafts. If you have not yet signed up for Underdog Fantasy, A, what are you doing? B, make sure to use promo code SPIKE, or find the link in the description. Promo code SPIKE, get 100% deposit bonus up to $100 on your first deposit at Underdog. And of course, make sure like this video, subscribe to the channel. We'll be putting out tons more of these videos for Battle Royale and all sorts of weekly NFL draft contests. Let's go ahead and crush Week 8.